Hey everybody, my name is Steffi and you are on the Messy Keto Kitchen. Today we're going to be doing keto biscuits and gravy that are quick, easy, be done in like 10 minutes and you will not know the difference. So stick with us, we'll have the ingredients and the recipe for you right after we come back. All right guys, so for the biscuits and gravy, here's what you're gonna need for the ingredients. Again, super simple. What I do is I do a version where you can just do it for one person, you can do it for two, however you wanna do this. So if you're a single person, you wanna do this by yourself, for each biscuit that you're gonna make, you are going to need a ramekin or a coffee mug will work, 1 egg, you need 2 tablespoons of butter, half a teaspoon of your baking powder, a pinch of salt, and a 1/3 cup of almond flour. I keep my almond flour in a bin. For your gravy, you're gonna need 1 pound of sausage, the ground breakfast sausage. I like the hot stuff, I like mine a little bit spicier, but if you like it mild, that's okay too. Make sure you avoid anything that has like the maple or anything like that because that's gonna add a ton of carbs for you and it's just not worth it. You want cayenne pepper. Even if you're somebody who's not really big on spice, the cayenne pepper is gonna add such good flavor, so don't skip on that. We got regular pepper, also salt for that one, and heavy cream. In my version of biscuits and gravy, I like to add a fried egg on top of these. Those are completely up to you. So if you do, obviously, you'll just need 1 egg for that. Let's get started. Let's make some gravy. Okay, so for that gravy, basically we're just gonna start off with our 1 pound of for me, Jimmy Dean's hot breakfast sausage. Make sure you've already preheated your pan just a little bit. If you're cooking from a cold pan, it A, will take longer, and B, your sausage will stick to the pan. And that, my friends, not super delicious. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to just break apart my sausage. I know this sounds like I'm just explaining the simplest things. It is not to talk down to anybody. It's just, if you cook it in one lump, it's gonna take a lot longer. You're gonna burn one side and not have anything else cooked. And then you wanna spread the sausage out, get as much of the surface of the pan coated with the sausage. So again, it spreads evenly, but also we wanna get as much of that good fat from the bottom because our gravy is going to be based out of that awesome fat. That's gonna make some of that good thick gravy for us. I love biscuits and gravy. It's one of those things, like if you go to, you can always grade a good restaurant by how good their biscuits and gravy are. And obviously on keto, we can't just have restaurant style stuff, so we gotta improvise. But I despise it when you go to a restaurant and you're like, you know what, I really want biscuits and gravy. And you get it and like the biscuit is like too hard or too soft, or the gravy is bland. It's really not hard to do. A good gravy is so simple, and that's what I'm gonna show you guys here today. So we're gonna let that spread out just a little bit. Let it cook up. See if I can break this apart a little more. It smells so good. I've been cooking it for 20 seconds basically at this point, and it already smells so good. One of the biggest reasons that I like this particular sausage is that it carries so much flavor on its own that you can be so, I mean, it should be a simple recipe anyway, but this sausage has so much good flavor into it, it kind of carries the recipe in and of itself. So a good flavored sausage is going to be important. Try not to be, you know, it's not that you can't get a different version of it or whatever, just make sure it's something that already has some good flavor. So, all right, so I'm just flipping this over. Again, I don't wanna cook it 100% of the way. We're looking at about a 90% cook. And the reason for that is that it's still gonna cook more after I add some of the rest of all the rest of my ingredients. And so you still want to get all that good fat out of it while it's getting into the other ingredients. And if you overcook it now, none of that fat's gonna be incorporated in those ingredients, or it's gonna sit off to the side, I should clarify. You'll get a big old pool of fat, no flavor, sad face, biscuits and gravy ruined, hang your head in shame. Okay, maybe not that drastic. I'm hungry, so it might be drastic for me. Okay, so you can see here that we still have just a little bit of pink in there. That's exactly what we want, just a little bit of pink. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna take my heavy cream. I'm not gonna give you a specific amount. Don't be mad at me, guys, and there's a reason for it. I want you to be able to look at this when you're making this recipe and be versatile with it. So if you decide to make a bigger batch of this, you have more people coming, you wanna be able to accommodate for that. The idea is going to be that you're gonna pour enough heavy cream to cover up all of the sausage and then some. So it should be a nice little bath of heavy cream. So you almost want to cover it up entirely. There's still little bits poking out, but that's how it's supposed to look. And we're gonna just give that a little stir so everything gets incorporated in there. But if you don't put enough of it in there, it's not that the gravy won't turn out well. You're gonna have less of it, obviously, and it's just gonna be much thicker than you're wanting. So you want a nice, good consistency on that gravy. So make sure you do that. All right, next, like I said, even if you're not a spicy person fan, the cayenne pepper adds so much flavor to it. It's just a great flavor. So I like mine spicy. I'm gonna be a little bit heavier handed on it. You choose what's right, but don't skip it, guys. So just give it a nice little sprinkle over the top. Dean and I like it spicy. Give myself a little bit of salt, just a tiny, tiny bit. Don't go crazy because sausage already has quite a bit of salt in it. You will have a very salty dish if you go bananas. All right, and last but not least, pepper is super important. A good sausage gravy should have a great amount of pepper in it. You should be able to see the pepper flakes in it. If you don't see the pepper flakes in it, it ain't right. So I'm gonna go ahead and add all that in there. And I will add more pepper, just so you know. We're just gonna give it a stir so we can kind of see where we're going.
What if I don't have a pepper mill?
Well, if you don't have a pepper mill, life's over too. Just kidding, guys. If you don't have a pepper mill, you can use regular pepper. However, like one that's already pre-crushed or cracked or whatever, you're gonna wanna use a little bit more pepper because the stuff that comes, like that's already pre-ground, has already kind of lost a little bit of its flavor, so you're gonna need to use a little bit more. Okay, so stirring all my ingredients in, and basically at this point, I forgot to tell you one of the ingredients, we need xanthan gum. Xanthan gum is going to thicken this up for us, so give me just a second. Luckily, it's not too far away. And again, with this one, like I'm gonna give you a pretty specific measurement on the xanthan gum. It's very versatile. You can go a little bit heavier with it, a little bit lighter. I always say this stuff goes a long way, so go light at first and then you can always add a bit more. So I'm gonna start off with about 1 tablespoon. Actually, I'm gonna start off with don't say tablespoon. I'm gonna start off with half a teaspoon. I was way off. I'm so hungry, I just can't even think. So half a teaspoon going on top of there. Just get that incorporated in so it gets all mixed up in there and you're gonna get a nice gravy. Right, are my weird impersonations of nobody doing anything for you guys? Probably not. Okay, so get that all situated in there. And like you can see, I don't know if you can see it in the video here, but you've still got a couple of pieces that are a little bit pink. That's exactly what we want. It's gonna soak up all that good flavor. We want flavor. We want people to believe that this is handcrafted by the finest chefs in the world. And if you don't know, I am one of the finest chefs in the world. Okay, so while that's going, while we're getting our gravy working up a little bit, let's talk about the biscuits. So I'm gonna go ahead and start on the biscuits, and the biscuits are very, very quick. I did tell you guys that they only take about 1.5 minutes per biscuit. So while my gravy is cooking, if I time my things out properly, I can have my biscuits and my gravy done almost exactly at the same time. So let's see how good I am. Before I start, I'm gonna give my gravy one more stir. One more stir was what that was supposed to sound like. Okay, and we're gonna just wait for that to thicken up. While I'm waiting for that, for each one of my biscuits, we grab that ramekin, we're gonna do our 2 tablespoons of butter, and we're gonna put this in the microwave for about 20 to 22 seconds, depending on your microwave heat time. We're just gonna melt that up. All right, so we got our melted butter here, and to our melted butter, we're gonna add 1/3 cup of blanched almond flour, okay? Get that in there. And I always like to give it a quick stir to begin with, just to start incorporating the ingredients. So I've mixed that in there. I'm gonna do 1 egg. Seriously, one of the most simple recipes I've ever come across. By the way, this is not my recipe. I can't remember who I stole it from or liberated it from. If it's your recipe, comment below. Thank you for letting me use it. You've saved me a lot of sad nights by having some delicious biscuits to turn to. All right, we're doing 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. Boop, just like that. Give it another stir there. And make sure you're incorporating those ingredients super well, just because you don't want to have a bite of just almond flour or baking powder. That would not be tasty. Okay, so while I'm working on this, just so you know, I'm turning down the heat on my gravy. We're gonna let it simmer just a little bit while I'm doing that. Adding a pinch of salt to my biscuits. Stir, stir, stir. All right. I'm gonna put my biscuit into the microwave for 1 minute and 15 seconds. Again, microwave cook times may vary. You're just looking for it to come out looking like a nice spongy biscuit. All right, do the same thing with my second one here. 1/3 of a cup of almond flour, a little quick stir, my egg. Boop, the sound effects are super important, you guys. It won't come out right if you don't make the sound effects. I just need you to know that. Okay, so we got that. All right, and our little pinch of salt there. The cool thing about these biscuits is they're super versatile too. So you can make add flavors to them really easily because these are kind of just baseline biscuits. That's what we'll call them, baseline biscuits. So in your baseline biscuits, you could add like a little cinnamon and vanilla if you wanted to, just to make it, you know, a little bit sweeter. You could do a sugar-free jelly in there. There's all sorts of good stuff. Okay. But again, in this one, I'm just going with the baseline biscuit. I should copyright that. All right. We're going someplace. Okay. All right, so now I'm looking at my gravy again, and it looks like it's not quite as thick as I'm gonna want it just yet, and that's why you start small. Like, I think it's still thickening up, but I can already tell that I'm gonna need just a little bit more of the xanthan gum. So again, I'm gonna do it in smaller increments. We're gonna go with another 1/2 teaspoon of it. And again, it depends. If you want yours a little bit like on the, I don't want to say soupy side, but yeah, soupy side, you could do it that way too. I like my gravy to be gravy-esque, you know, a little bit thicker, a little bit more delish. All right, so we got that in there. Again, we've already turned this down quite a bit. All right, so now let's look at our biscuit, the first one that came out. I'm going to show you just how easy and awesome this is going to look. All right. All right. So you can see it's steaming hot. It's delicious looking. Look at all that sponginess in the middle there. That is exactly how you want a biscuit to look. Good, spongy quality. I do have another recipe for biscuits that I sometimes like to use if I'm feeling one that I want one that's a little bit crunchier. Sometimes you like one that has a little bit of crunch on the outside, soft on the inside. I will link that below so you guys can try that one too. This one is just much faster. And if you're ready to eat breakfast for dinner like I am, you'll know what I'm talking about when you say stick to this recipe, okay? All right, so you can see the gravy is starting to really thicken up. That is exactly what we want to see. So the next step in our process here, we're gonna give it about 1 more minute on the stovetop. And we're gonna take this off and we're going to cook our I was gonna say hard-boiled egg, and that is not right, unless you want a hard-boiled egg. We're going to do a fried egg that we're gonna put over the top. You can skip this step, like I said. Try it the first time. I think you're really gonna like it. It adds a good richness, great flavor to it, a lot of depth to a very, very simple dish. And again, you'll look like a culinary genius, and who doesn't want that? All right, guys, this is what a good biscuit and gravy is gonna look like. You are gonna take this beautiful biscuit, we went ahead and cut it in half. And you go ahead and put on however much gravy you want to. This is your life. Live like you wanna live. Alrighty, this looks so good. And I hope you can see the good amount of pepper flakes in there, or ground pepper. And again, completely up to you, but I think you're gonna be happy if you add that fried egg right to the top there. That looks amazing. Anyway, just for that extra added little, you know, bite, but also just that presentation piece, I just like to get a little bit of cayenne pepper on top of there. It looks good. It's gonna taste good. Anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this recipe. We're gonna go eat dinner because I am freaking starving, and that is all I have.